I want to say something about the temple of Karnak, which is in the city of No-amon, which the Greeks called Thebes. The temple of Karnak is one of the largest temple complexes in the whole world. I don't know if it's larger than Angkor Wat in Cambodia. That may be a little larger, but the magnificence of the temple, the Egyptian temples in Karnak, is mind-blowing. It is tremendous. There are thousands of sculptures there, interesting avenues of walking. In one center, as you enter the temple, there are 44 sphinxes, 22 on each side, lining the entrance as you walk in. Tremendous buildings, very great heights. The Hypostyle Hall at Karnak has standing about 160 columns, every one of them about 60 feet in height, and they supported the roof of the temple. They're still standing there. They're magnificent sculptures. They're beautifully carved cylinders with incised figures in them. The complex it's vast, and yet you can see that not only was it vast, but it was beautifully built so that it was a very attractive set of buildings that were there, also built so that the light of the sun would illuminate the dark hall and put the shining of the sun right onto the center of the altar. So the buildings in Karnak are remarkable. What's most remarkable is that they're still there. When you go to Karnak and you visit Luxor, Luxor is a whole complex around there, you see things that were built 1400 BC, 1500 BC, still there and intact and beautiful. Of course, some have collapsed, a few things did fall. There might have been a few earthquakes so that some of the structures fell, but a lot still remains standing. A lot of the inscriptions, a lot of the sculptures. This is in the area which is called Luxor, which includes the Temple of Karnak. Now, that was the capital of Upper Egypt. What about the capital of Lower Egypt, around Memphis? What is there? Funny thing is that when you go to Memphis and you look around, there are a few statues. Some of them are collapsed. There's a statue of Ramses, very great statue of Ramses, lying on his back. There was another statue of Ramses, which was picked up and is intact, and they put it on a pedestal, and it stands in a square called Ramses Square, of course. Traffic trying to get around it. But where are all the other structures? If Memphis was a great capital of Egypt, why is nothing left, or very little left, except the Giza pyramids, which are a certain distance away and across the Nile? Otherwise, there's very little. The answer is that Memphis is at this location, and in the course of centuries, when Egypt was invaded, they hit Memphis and did damage. And Egypt was invaded in 1730 BC, which we'll discuss, and then it was invaded in 669 BC, 1730 BC by the Hyksos, 669 BC by Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, and then later by Cambyses, king of Persia, in 520 BC, 529 BC, and then Alexander the Great. Now you have these conquests and invasions, and of course the invaders, devastated and destroyed and did a lot of damage. So there's not that much left in Memphis, but at its peak, at its height, its glory must have been equal to that of the southern or capital of Upper Egypt, because they were both capitals of great kingdoms.